Let me give you an opportunity up front to compare the sound. Here is a sound that is coming from the bare bone camera audio recorder. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Here is a sound that is coming from the recording audio device to my smartphone. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Here is the processed sound after I have processed everything. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. There you have it. Now let's do it. Good quality audio in your video can change everything about the viewer's experience and make that video more enjoyable to watch. What this video is about is to take you through simple steps that I take to record my audio from the point where I hook up my microphone to my recording device all the way to the point where I clean it up in post-production using Adobe Audition. Sam here, welcome to my channel. I am not your typical tutor. I am a hobbyist who is interested in videography and film. So what I use in terms of softwares and tools and how I use them, I simply just share with you. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in, I'll encourage you to just subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification so that when I upload new videos, you will be notified. And also that simply just sends a message to the algorithm of YouTube that there is value here on this channel. But I sincerely hope that you truly find value here. Without further ado, let us get straight into it. The cheapest way that I have found to make the audio in my video sound like that of a pro is number one, I simply take off my lav mic, slam it against the wall several times, and then simply just clip it back on and say something like mic check 1 2 1 2, mic check 1 2 1 2. Voila, my sound is great. Now that's probably the most terrible jokes you've heard in a long time. Please don't do that. The actual first thing I do, I take all the soft materials I have in the room, I simply keep them and pile them up on the floor. Now you wonder, why do I need to do that? Every single room has ambient sound. If I go quiet right now, you're going to hear ambient sound in this room. Can you hear it? Even my kids are part of the ambient sound from downstairs. I'm sorry for that noise. What happens is that it just simply prevents sounds from bouncing off the wall. If this thing's wearing on the floor right now, my voice is simply going to bounce off the dry walls that I have here, and then it's going to create echo. So basically, once I do that, it adds some extra layer of quality to the voice of my sound, because my sound is going to sound a little bit compressed and contained. Ooh, that sounds good, man. Why do I consistently work hard to achieve clean and great audio in my video? I am yet to see any major film or movie out there with poor quality audio. Reason being that the same amount of attention given to visuals is the same amount of attention given to audio production. Another reason why I work hard to achieve good quality audio for my video is because of the visually impaired community or population out there. It's only fair, you know, to carry them along as I do my videos, because they may never be able to see my video, you know. So it is good to actually increase or improve the quality of the audio that I have in my video. Maybe you too should actually consider that. Number two thing I do is that I simply just clip my lavalier mic on a safe distance from my mouth, not too close and not too far off, close enough to pick enough signal into the microphone from my recording. Now this mic, I got it for $12. It is almost counterintuitive to say cheap and quality. Now with a little bit of creativity applied to anything one does, you know that it is very possible to achieve good quality. There have been a lot of creative work done out there that the people actually apply a high level of creativity without spending a dime to have a great production. So that's exactly what I am doing here. Even though cheap lavalier mic of $12 from Amazon, I still can produce great sound. So what I do is I simply place it very close to my chest. Now, sometimes I give it a bit of room from my mouth so that I don't have distortions, because when it's closer here, you're going to have a lot of distortion on the sound. So it's going to become too loud that it's going to blow the roof off. Once your sound hits that red light, you are distorted. So you don't want that. What I do is that I make sure it hits the yellow light. Once it hits the yellow light, that's kind of like the sweet spot for me. So I make sure I keep it at a safe distance, not too low and not too far away. What I discovered is that times that I kept it too low, I realized that it was speaking more sounds from the room because the signal coming from my mouth onto the mic recording me was a little bit too far away from my mouth. So the dominant sound should be from my mouth at all times. So I get it hooked up to a recording device. Some noise too are useful for something. So basically I'm going to observe a moment of silence to just capture the ambience of this room into this recording. I'm using this ambient sound for post-production purposes. I'm just going to use it to actually reduce the noise in the audio, allowing the algorithm of the software that I'm going to use to do its mathematical thing and clean up the sound some more. So that's the reason why I'm recording the quietness of the room. When you use a DSLR or a regular camera to record your audio, they don't really come out really nicely. And I found out that the hard way because I realized that when I record with my DSLR, the sound quality is usually very poor. Even when I have my mic hooked onto it, it will be better than the scratch audio and all that, but it's still nothing compared to when you record from your microphone onto a recording device. So that's out of the way. Hey, I'm just curious, how do you treat the audio in your video? Please, I'd like you to put your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Onto the video. Now what I do is I get it hooked onto my phone, my Samsung phone. Almost everybody has smartphone these days. All I do is I simply just have an application that records the sound onto it, and then from there I transfer to my computer. After that, I go the extra mile. Remember, I said I want it to sound like that of a pro. I go onto a software called Adobe Audition. Most of you might not have known that the entire Adobe ecosystem is broken into several segments. There is the interface that helps you edit your videos, and there is also another one that helps you edit your audio, separate softwares, or they are so well interwoven that you can actually seamlessly move from one to the other. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to deal with Adobe Audition. Use Adobe Audition to clean up my sound and then have it transferred to Premiere Pro where I do all the final syncing with the video. So basically, we are going to finish this thing right there in the computer. So as you can see in my screen, my Adobe Audition is cranked open. So the first thing I do is to first of all go straight to my file here and then import the audio file that I just recorded. Of course, that's the one I'll go for. So right here, I'll pick it up from my desktop because I put it right there so that I can find it so easily. All right. Here, it's going to do its thing and it's going to load it up on Audition. So once it's open, and I'll attempt to play the audio first so that we see the audio as recorded. So here it is. I will just play, maybe say the beginning here. Hook up my microphone to my recording device all the way to the point where I clean it up in post-production. So as you can hear, it is very bare, plain, and nothing has been done to it. So the first thing I like to do is I pretty much just go into this place here called favorite. I come down here to this drop down window and I click on start recording. Okay. So what that is going to do for me is that with production, you have to find a way to always save time, because if you can't do anything within a specified time or within a time period, you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. So what I do is, in order for me not to repeat this process every single time that I do production, I need to save this process and save it in a hotkey that within a push of a button, I can apply all the various stages that I went through or that I go through to clean up this audio, so that I don't repeat the same process all the time. And that's a huge savings on my time. So you might want to imbibe the same thing or the same habit. So here I am. I have started recording the process earlier on. I need to look for a portion of this audio where it's just ambient sound, just the room sound. Now what I'm going to attempt to do with that is I am going to attempt to use that empty room sound or the ambient sound to try to use it to denoise my audio. You'll see what I mean in a bit. Let's get back into it. So I'll just simply zoom in here. I see a bit of empty portion here where I did not say anything. And as you can see in the waveform right here, this place is empty. I'll just simply highlight it. Once highlighted, I'll come down here to effects, then drop down to noise reduction and / restoration. Then I capture noise print. So that is going to help me capture the ambient sound of the room, and just copy it. And then before I denoise it, I would need to highlight the entire waveform and then go back to effects and then come right back to noise reduction and restoration. This time around, I'll go for noise reduction process. I click on it. That is just going to bring up this thing here. So don't worry too much about this. What I simply just do is I make sure the noise reduction is at 50%. Everything I do here, I try to do in moderation. If I push this noise reduction all the way to 60, it's going to probably overdo it. I mean, you need to understand that the quality of every audio is different depending on where you record it. And then things that affect it also would be like the type of microphone you use or the type of recorder that you use to record your audio or your voice, So bear in mind that those things will always affect everything. No single audio production is ever the same. In this case, I make sure that depending on the particular audio I'm working with per time, I really don't exceed 50% noise reduction. So let me not flog that. And then I'll just simply adjust this. Usually, maybe if you that will begin the process of actually reducing the noise. As you can see, it's processing and all that. Once it's done with its thing, it will automatically reduce the noise, in that audio. So we're just getting the audio ready for the cleanup. And that's the process of cleanup that has just started right now. So the next thing we're going to do is come right back to effects, amplitude and compression, and then click on amplify. I click on amplify, and then here you need to be careful with this particular place because sometimes when you apply this particular effect, it tends to blow the sound out of proportion. So what it does is that if you look at the waveform right here, you will notice that there are some parts that the signal in this audio, some portions are low and then some have a very high spike. Reason being that as a human being, when you're talking, sometimes you talk loud and then some other times your voice has the tendency of drifting off, like you talk low sometimes and then you talk very high sometimes. So there's some kind of variation in your volume, as you talk or as you engage in conversation, depending on what the situation is. So I guess that is what affects the waveform. So to actually equalize these spikes here, I need to apply amplification. So what the amplification simply does to it is that it will equalize these spikes. It will just basically maximize the spikes across the board right here. So what I'm going to do is to simply just apply 7.36 dB. Sometimes I leave it as 7 dB because I hate to exceed here. Because if it becomes too loud, then distortions becomes the problem you're going to be dealing with. I try not to make it too loud. So I leave it at 7 dB right here and then apply it. Once I apply it, you're going to notice that when I play it a little bit, it's going to be hitting red. As you can see the waveform right here, the spikes are really hitting the roof, because we have equalized the signal across the board, right? So let's play a little bit of the clip here. So I will just play it a bit. A sound coming from my microphone, from my cheap microphone can produce. So now what we're going to do is to come to this place right here, back to effects, and then come to special. Come to mastering. So what mastering is going to do is just going to normalize the amplification that we have applied right now. So once on this window, we come here to a preset called make room for vocals and click on that, and then we apply it. You're going to notice that it's going to do its thing, is applying the effect. Is at about 60% right now, so it should finish up and then apply the effect to my audio right here. So now that it has applied the audio, so we're going to just play it a little bit and see what happens. Sound coming from my microphone. As you can hear it already sounds far better than the first thing we loaded in a while ago. So come back to effects and then come to EQ. That's what I like to do. And then come to parametric EQ. Now, what you see here is a preset, but I would like to load it up again. Loudness, let's do default. So once if you're probably in Audition right now, if you haven't used this portion before, this is what you're pretty much going to see. But we're going to come on here where you have default right there, come down onto the drop down right here and click on loudness maximizer. It's going to bring out these. Now we're going to click on the number 2 position right here. Now on this curve, you need to understand that on the left hand side of this graph is the low frequency, and then on the right hand side here is the high frequency. So this is the mid frequency right here where we clicked on the 2. So we'll play it. Usually I play it just to look for distinct sound where I'm going to pitch my compression. So I'll just play it. Sound coming from my microphone, from my cheap microphone, can produce. So as you can hear it, I'll just let it play and then I'll apply this middle dot right here so that I can effect the thing the way I want it to be. So I can play. Sound coming from my microphone, from my cheap microphone, can produce, you know. So here's what I do. First and foremost, what I do is that I heap a pile then
of
I'll
clothes
push
on
this
the floor, right?
This low frequency up just a little bit.
Right on the floor. I have not spent a dime. I just simply pick some blankets from the bed.
As you can hear it sounds a lot better. So on this high frequency axis, you want to ensure that you are not pushing it so much. It's going to now start picking, and because it's the high frequency for a lot of people who use headphones, I try as much as possible to not do that part too much, because if you push it too much, it's going to be screeching, you know, and you don't want that very uncomfortable sound in people's ears or in your ear. So I try as much as possible to keep it on the 10th dB level right here. I don't push it beyond that. Once again, depending on the audio, you know, because no two audios are the same. So I try as much as possible to keep it within 10 dB and 20 dB. So that's where I keep my level for the high frequency.
You might ask, what are the blankets doing on the floor?
Then I click on OK. I have applied it. So it will do its thing. And then the last thing I like to do is I just simply want to apply the noise reduction one more time by clicking on the empty space bar here, if it will work. This last point is really not necessary, but I just try to add things. So once again, you go to Effects, Noise Reduction, Capture Noise, highlight your waveform. I come back to Effect again, go to Noise Reduction and Restoration, and then click on Noise Reduction Process. So let's hear it right now.
I move on to the next stage. You might ask, what are the blankets doing on the floor? Now, those materials,
don't forget, keep it at 50%. I move so
on to
I'll
the
just
next
wait for it to do its thing, and that's it.
You might ask, what are the blankets?
As you can see, it sounds great to me. You remember in the beginning, we started actually by hitting a record button so that it will record the process of cleaning this sound. The intention is to actually put a hotkey to this whole process so that every time I am doing my audio, I don't have to go through this process over and over again, because I want to be able to save time. If I cannot push a button to apply all that effect to an audio, then I'm not being wise with my time. So I'll save it onto a hotkey and then have that key saved to one of my favorites, you know, so that every time I need to apply this effect or anytime I want to clean up a sound, it's just with a click of a button, voila, I'm done. And then move on to the next thing, which is actually now editing my video with excellent audio. You know what I mean? That's the way I want to do it. Then I come to favorite right here. If you come down here, you can see that it has been recording. So I would need to now say stop recording. I'll need to name it as a preset so that it has a particular name. If you're doing this, you should give yours a particular name so that it saves it in a name that you can easily find and apply to a hotkey somewhere. I'll call it like a pro audio. I will click on save now. So it will actually go and save it on my favorites. So here it is. Here it is. So every single time I record a brand new audio, what I simply need to do is just to come here and apply it. I can even apply it on a hotkey. So come to edit, come right down to keyboard shortcut, and then I'll type like a pro. There you have it. So it's right here. So all I need to do is to apply it to a fast key. So say, let's allocate it to maybe, let's see, H. Let's see, F, scan F, F. So once I click on the key, I'll simply just click on OK. That will apply my preset right there. So whenever I record new audio, I don't need to go through all that process afresh. You know, I just simply need to go to that short key and hit my key H. After I highlighted my audio, I just hit the key H, or all that process that I went through will just be applied with the click of a button. And that's it. There are two ways I can actually apply my preset. So I go to favorite first, number one. This is the shortcut here to that particular preset. I just click on it and it will apply it. And then the second way is that I just come to my key N here, right here on my keyboard, and then hit the thing. You see, it will process it. It started loading the preset already. So it will load it, and then automatically I will have the preset applied to my audio, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed this particular tutorial, and it works like magic, and I wish you good luck trying this whole thing out. It's very easy. It's fantastic. When I actually discovered it, I was like, this is so good, because I love to work on my audio for my videos. So I do hope you enjoyed this whole thing, and that is all about it. And to like this video, if you do like it, share the video if you want to share it, so that more people can get to see this particular video. And thank you. Peace.